Have you ever thought about how being single for a long time can change who you are? Whether you're single by choice or because of circumstances, spending many years without a romantic relationship affects people in ways they might not even notice. These changes can be both positive and challenging. Some make you stronger and more independent, while others might make it harder to connect with someone new, even when the chance comes. In this discussion, we will look at 5 main ways that being single for a long time changes you, how you think, feel, and interact with others. These changes happen slowly, often without you realizing it. But once you understand them, you can decide what's helping you and what might be holding you back. We'll explore how these changes affect your independence, emotional openness, daily habits, expectations in relationships, and how you view being in a relationship. Each of these areas plays an important role in shaping who you are and how you approach life. By understanding these shifts, you can use the good parts to your advantage and work on the parts that might be limiting your ability to form deep connections. Whether you're happy being single or thinking about opening yourself up to love again, this exploration is for you. We'll discuss what you can do to embrace the positive aspects while overcoming the challenges that might be keeping you from meaningful relationships. So let's dive into these changes and see how they might surprise you. More importantly, we'll talk about steps you can take to ensure these changes help rather than hinder your personal growth and relationships. Stay with us until the end to get the full picture and learn how to navigate these transformations effectively. The power of independence, a double-edged sword. The first major change that comes with long-term singlehood is becoming more independent. When you spend a significant amount of time without a romantic partner, you naturally become more self-sufficient. This means you get used to making decisions on your own, organizing your life exactly how you want, and handling challenges without needing a partner for emotional or practical support. In many ways, this is a great thing. Independence gives you strength, confidence, and the ability to stand on your own 2 feet without relying on someone else to complete you. However, there's another side to this story, one that can make relationships more difficult when they do come along. Think about it. When you're used to living life entirely on your own terms, bringing someone else into the picture can feel like an adjustment, even an inconvenience. You have your own routines, habits, and ways of doing things. There's nobody to check in with, nobody to consult when making plans, and nobody to compromise with when deciding how to spend your day. Over time, this can create a mindset where relationships feel more like an obligation than a partnership. This isn't to say that independence is a bad thing. In fact, it's one of the most attractive qualities a person can have. But there's a difference between being independent and being so set in your ways that you can't make space for another person. Relationships require a certain level of flexibility, a willingness to adjust, accommodate, and compromise. If you've been single for years, you might not even realize how much you've gotten used to not doing that. Imagine 2 people in their 60s who have both been single for a long time. One remains open to companionship, willing to adjust aspects of their life to welcome someone in. The other has become so accustomed to their routines that the idea of sharing space, time, or decisions with someone else feels frustrating. Which one do you think would find it easier to build a connection if the right person came along? The good news is, if you recognize this tendency in yourself, it doesn't have to hold you back. Being independent doesn't mean being closed off. It means you have the ability to choose what's right for you. But if part of you still wants companionship, it's important to remember that relationships thrive on give and take. Maintaining your independence while still allowing space for someone else is the key to finding balance. And when you find that balance, you don't lose yourself in a relationship. You simply grow alongside it. Struggling with emotional vulnerability. The challenge of opening up. The second major shift that happens during long-term singlehood is a struggle with emotional vulnerability. When you go without a romantic relationship for a long time, it becomes increasingly difficult to open up emotionally. Being single for years means you get used to handling everything on your own, your thoughts, emotions, and struggles. Without someone regularly asking how you're feeling, checking in on your day, or providing deep emotional support, you start to build walls without even realizing it. Emotional vulnerability is a skill, and like any skill, it requires practice. In a relationship, you naturally learn to express your feelings, share your worries, and lean on someone when things get tough. But when you've been alone for a long time, that muscle weakens. You might find it uncomfortable to let someone see the softer, more unguarded side of you. You might hesitate to admit when you need help or struggle to say things like, "I miss you," or "I need you." In some cases, you might even convince yourself that you don't need that kind of connection at all. But the truth is, no matter how independent you are, deep down, everyone craves emotional intimacy. The challenge is that when you've been alone for a long time, letting someone in can feel foreign, almost unnatural. If you're not careful, this hesitation can make it harder for relationships to develop, even when you meet someone who could be a great match. Imagine two people, both single for years. One is open to connection, willing to share their thoughts and feelings, even if it feels a little uncomfortable at first. The other has grown so accustomed to keeping everything to themselves that they struggle to express even the simplest emotions. Which one do you think will have an easier time forming a meaningful relationship? This isn't about forcing yourself to be emotionally open with just anyone. It's about recognizing that if you want deeper connections, you have to be willing to take emotional risks. Being vulnerable isn't a weakness. It's what allows people to truly know you, understand you, and connect with you on a level that goes beyond casual conversation. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes. If you're finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward to the next point. Building strong personal routines. Comfort and consistency. The third significant transformation that occurs during long-term singlehood is the development of strong personal routines and habits. When you've been single for an extended period, you naturally construct a life centered around your own preferences, routines, and habits. This lifestyle offers a unique sense of freedom. You eat what you want, sleep when you want, watch what you want on TV, and structure your day exactly as you like it. Over time, these routines become deeply ingrained, shaping your daily existence in meaningful ways. While this autonomy is liberating, it can also pose challenges when a relationship opportunity arises. The longer you live without adjusting for a partner, the more set in your ways you become, which can complicate integrating someone else into your world. In a relationship, there's a natural give and take. You compromise on plans, adjust routines to fit another person's needs, and learn to create a shared lifestyle. However, when you've been alone for years, you don't have to consider anyone else's schedule. This lack of adaptation can make you less flexible, even if you don't realize it. Consider daily habits. You get used to specific ways of doing things, how you organize your home, what time you wake up, how you spend your evenings. The idea of someone coming in and changing any of that can feel disruptive. Some individuals even begin to view relationships as more of a sacrifice than a gain, simply because they don't want to alter the life they've meticulously built for themselves. Having strong personal routines and habits is undeniably one of the best aspects of being single for a long time. It reflects a strong sense of self and independence. However, relationships require a certain level of adaptability. If you're unwilling to adjust even slightly, it can create distance before a connection has the chance to flourish. Imagine two people, both single for years. One has established robust personal routines, but remains open to adjusting if the right person comes along. The other is so entrenched in their ways that even small compromises feel burdensome. Which one do you think will have an easier time maintaining a relationship? The key is achieving balance. Keep the structure and routines that enhance your life while also allowing room for someone else when the time is right. At the end of the day, the habits you've cultivated over the years should enrich your life, not create barriers that keep people out. When you find this equilibrium, you don't lose your independence. You simply make space for something more. Setting high standards. The balance between expectations and reality. The fourth significant change that occurs during long-term singlehood is the tendency to raise your standards, sometimes too high. When you've been single for a long time, you naturally become more selective about who you allow into your life. In many ways, this is a positive development. You learn exactly what you want, what you don't want, and what you're not willing to tolerate in a relationship. With years of reflection on past experiences, you gain a clearer understanding of your personal boundaries and develop a stronger sense of what truly matters to you. However, there's a flip side to this heightened selectivity. Sometimes those standards can become so high that they start keeping people out instead of letting the right one in. Consider the early stages of dating when relationships often come with a sense of discovery. You're more open to exploring connections, learning from each other, and figuring things out along the way. But when you've been single for a long time, you might expect someone to fit perfectly into your life right from the start. You may become less patient with flaws, less willing to navigate differences, and more likely to dismiss someone over small imperfections. Over time, this can lead to a cycle where nobody ever seems good enough. It's not just about expectations for a partner, it's also about expectations for love itself. If you've been single for years, you might have built up an idealized version of what a relationship should look like. Perhaps you expect perfect emotional connection, effortless communication, or chemistry that feels straight out of a movie. But real relationships take work. They require patience, compromise, and a willingness to embrace someone's imperfections, just as you'd want them to embrace yours. Raising your standards isn't inherently a bad thing. In fact, knowing your worth and refusing to settle for the wrong person is one of the best outcomes of spending time alone. The key is recognizing the difference between having high standards and having unrealistic ones. If your list of requirements is so rigid that no one could possibly meet them, you might be unconsciously closing yourself off to potential connections. Imagine two people, both single for years. One has clear standards but understands that relationships involve growth and compromise. The other is constantly searching for someone who checks every box, never giving anyone a real chance. Which one do you think is more likely to find a meaningful connection? The truth is, relationships aren't about finding someone perfect. They're about finding someone whose imperfections you can accept and whose presence makes your life better. If you've been single for a long time and struggle to find a good match, it might be worth asking yourself, am I looking for a real connection, or am I chasing an ideal that doesn't exist? Because sometimes the right person isn't the one who meets every expectation. It's the one who brings something real, lasting, and reminds you why love is worth the risk. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward to the final point. Embracing solitude, redefining relationship urgency. The fifth and final change that emerges during long-term singlehood is a diminished sense of urgency to be in a relationship. As time progresses, especially after spending many years alone, the pressure to be in a romantic relationship tends to fade. Instead, you learn how to be content on your own, filling your life with routines, hobbies, friendships, and personal goals. This newfound fulfillment is a testament to personal growth and maturity, marking a significant departure from the societal pressures often felt in younger years to pair up, settle down, and follow the traditional relationship path. When you're young, there's often a societal expectation to find a partner and build a life together quickly. However, as you spend more time single, you start to realize that you don't need a romantic partner to live a happy, meaningful life. This realization is empowering, showcasing a strong sense of independence and self-sufficiency. Yet this shift in perspective can also create a mindset where you become indifferent to relationships altogether. Over time, this can make stepping back into the dating world more challenging. When you're used to your independence, the idea of adding someone into your life might feel unnecessary or even disruptive. You might start thinking, why go through the effort of dating when I'm perfectly fine on my own? In some cases, this comfort can evolve into avoidance, where you convince yourself that relationships aren't worth the trouble, not because you genuinely don't want one, but because the idea of change feels overwhelming. Choosing to remain single is not inherently negative. If you genuinely prefer solitude and feel at peace with that choice, there's nothing wrong with embracing it. However, if you secretly desire companionship, yet avoid opportunities to connect, It may be worth examining whether you've unintentionally built emotional walls. Imagine two people, both single for many years. One has accepted their independence but remains open to the possibility of love if the right person comes along. The other has become so comfortable in their solitude that they no longer put in any effort to meet people, even when they secretly crave connection. Which one do you think has a better chance of experiencing companionship when the opportunity arises? The key is recognizing the difference between genuine contentment and passive avoidance. Being comfortable alone is a strength, but letting that comfort turn into isolation can be a missed opportunity. If you've been single for a long time, take a moment to ask yourself, am I truly happy this way, or have I simply convinced myself that I am because it's easier than taking a risk? Relationships aren't about filling a void. They're about enhancing the life you've already built. And if you keep your heart open, you never know what incredible connections might still be ahead of you. Reflecting on change, understanding how long-term singlehood shapes us. As we wrap up our exploration of how long-term singlehood transforms us, it's crucial to pause and reflect on these 5 pivotal changes. Do any of them resonate with your own experience? If you've been single for a considerable period, chances are you've encountered at least some of these shifts. While many of these changes contribute positively to your life, fostering strength, wisdom, and self-sufficiency, it's equally important to acknowledge when they might be holding you back. Being single is not a flaw, nor is it something that needs fixing. Many of the happiest and most fulfilled individuals are those who have learned to enjoy their own company. However, if deep down you still yearn for companionship, it's worth considering whether you've unconsciously erected walls that keep people out. Have you become so entrenched in your ways that you no longer make space for someone else? Have past experiences or elevated expectations stopped you from giving new connections a real chance? The encouraging news is that it's never too late to make small adjustments that open the door to love and connection. Whether it involves staying flexible, practicing emotional vulnerability, or simply being willing to step outside your comfort zone, every effort you make brings you closer to the kind of relationship you desire, if you want one at all. And here's the best part. None of these changes require you to lose yourself. The right relationship won't diminish your independence. Instead, it will enhance the life you've already built. So if you've been single for years and wonder why love hasn't found you yet, remember this. It's not about whether or not you're still relationship material. It's about whether you're still open to the possibility of connection, growth, and companionship. And when you are, love has a way of finding you, often when you least expect it. Thank you for joining us today on this journey of understanding and reflection. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are invaluable to us, and reading your comments provides great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this discussion and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating meaningful content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Acknowledging growth, recognizing strengths and challenges in long-term singlehood. As we conclude this exploration of long-term singlehood, it's essential to celebrate the growth and resilience that come with this journey. Being single for an extended period is not a sign of inadequacy, but rather a testament to your ability to thrive independently. You've learned to navigate life's complexities on your own terms, building a foundation of strength, wisdom, and self-awareness. These qualities make you not only more capable of handling life's challenges, but also more prepared for meaningful relationships should you choose to pursue them. At the same time, it's important to acknowledge the challenges that can arise from prolonged singlehood. The independence you've cultivated is a double-edged sword. It empowers you, but can also make it harder to adapt to the dynamics of a partnership. Emotional vulnerability, which may have weakened over time, is a bridge you can rebuild with practice. Similarly, while your routines and high standards reflect your personal growth, they can sometimes create barriers to connection if left unchecked. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward balancing your independence with openness to relationships. Ultimately, the key takeaway is this. Being single is neither a limitation nor a flaw. It's simply a chapter of your life that shapes who you are. Whether you choose to remain single or seek companionship, the lessons you've gained from this experience are invaluable. They teach you about your strengths, your boundaries, and what truly matters to you. And if you do decide to open yourself up to love, remember that the right relationship will complement your life, not compete with it. For those still reflecting on these insights, take a moment to ask yourself, what aspects of my single life am I proud of? And where might I need to grow? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear how this discussion resonates with you. And if you found this exploration helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support enables us to continue creating content that informs, inspires, and fosters meaningful conversations. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and we look forward to connecting with you again soon.